You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. These timeless words from remind us that true resilience and freedom come from mastering our inner world. In a time filled with uncertainty and constant distractions, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers a path to clarity and calm. It's not about suppressing emotions or ignoring life's challenges. It's about learning to navigate them with intention and purpose. In this video, we'll explore 25 secrets of Stoic self-mastery, timeless principles that can help you take control of your thoughts, build unshakable resilience, and find peace in even the most chaotic moments. Whether you're facing personal struggles, professional pressures, or simply seeking a deeper sense of purpose, these insights will empower you to approach life with confidence and clarity. Let's begin this journey together, one step at a time, toward a stronger, more centered version of yourself. Events themselves are neutral. It's the stories we attach to them that shape our experience. This is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about it. Two people can face the same situation. One sees a setback while the other sees an opportunity. The difference lies in their perception. Stoicism teaches us to pause before labeling something as good or bad. Instead, we're encouraged to ask, how can I use this? What can I learn from it? Take, for instance, a job rejection. To one person, it's a crushing defeat. To another, it's a chance to refine skills, explore new paths, or even discover a better fit. The event hasn't changed, but the way it's interpreted transforms the outcome. So, what if you started viewing your challenges through this lens? How might shifting your perspective open doors you never noticed before what's truly within your power? This question lies at the heart of the Stoic dichotomy of control. The ancient Stoics believed that our thoughts and actions are the only things we can truly govern. Everything else, other people's opinions, the weather, or the outcome of a project, are beyond our direct influence. Seneca put it beautifully when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that worrying about what we can't control only amplifies our stress. Instead, Stoicism invites us to channel our energy into what we can control, our responses, our mindset, and our efforts. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can't control the cars in front of you, but you can decide how to use that time, listening to a podcast, reflecting on your day, or simply practicing patience. By focusing on what's within your power, you reclaim a sense of agency and peace. So, where in your life could you shift your focus? What's one area where you've been expending energy on the uncontrollable, and how might redirecting it change your experience? The great Stoic emperor faced immense challenges during his reign, including leading Rome through war. Yet, even in the chaos of battle, he emphasized the importance of staying present. In his journal, Meditations, he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This wasn't just a philosophical idea, it was a survival tactic. By focusing on the here and now, he avoided being overwhelmed by fear of the future or regret of the past. This practice of mindfulness is central to Stoicism. It's about grounding yourself in the present moment, recognizing that it's the only time we truly have control over. Think about how this applies to modern life. When you're in a meeting or having a conversation, are you fully there, or is your mind wandering to what's next or what's behind you? Staying present reduces anxiety because it prevents us from inventing problems that don't exist yet. Try this today. The next time you catch your thoughts drifting, gently bring them back to the task at hand. Ask yourself, where am I not fully present in my life? Whether it's during a meal, a walk, or a conversation, practicing presence can transform how you experience every moment. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about growing through adversity. The Stoics believed that hardship wasn't something to avoid but an essential part of developing strength. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." He saw challenges as opportunities to refine our character and deepen our understanding of life. Take the story of Thomas Edison, for instance. After countless failed attempts to invent he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's resilience in action, turning setbacks into stepping stones. It's not about pretending the struggle doesn't exist, but about choosing to see it as a teacher. Think about your own life. What's one challenge that, in hindsight, taught you something valuable? Maybe it was a job loss, a broken relationship, or a personal failure. The Stoics would argue that these moments, painful as they are, hold the seeds of growth. They force us to confront our limits, adapt, and emerge stronger. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's a muscle you build. Start small. The next time you face a difficulty, ask yourself, what can this teach me? Shift your focus from what's being taken away to what's being offered. That's the Stoic path to inner resilience. Why would anyone choose discomfort? At first glance, it seems counterintuitive, even absurd. But the Stoics saw it as a powerful tool for self-mastery. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, once said, "Difficulties are things that show what men are." By willingly facing discomfort, we train ourselves to handle life's inevitable hardships with grace and resilience. Think of it as mental and emotional conditioning. Just as an athlete lifts weights to build physical strength, we can seek out small challenges to toughen our minds. Modern examples of this practice are everywhere. Fasting teaches us to control our impulses. Cold showers build discipline and reduce our dependence on comfort. Even leaving your phone behind for a few hours can train you to resist distraction. The goal isn't to punish yourself, but to appreciate what you have by temporarily stepping away from it. When you return to warmth, food, or convenience, you'll feel a renewed sense of gratitude. So why not try it? Start small. Skip dessert tonight, take a walk in the rain, or wake up an hour earlier than usual. These acts might seem trivial, but they're the first steps toward building a mindset that thrives in adversity. Remember, it's not about enduring suffering for its own sake. It's about proving to yourself that you're stronger than your circumstances. Life is unpredictable, and that's something we all know deep down. Yet, how often do we cling to specific outcomes as if we could control every twist and turn? Stoics had a different approach. They taught us to detach from results and focus instead on our efforts. A Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. When you pour your energy into perfecting what you can control, your actions, your mindset, your intentions, you free yourself from the turmoil of things beyond your reach. Take, for instance, an athlete training for a competition. They might not win the gold medal, but if they gave it their all, they can walk away with pride, knowing they've grown stronger in the process. Or consider a student who studies diligently but doesn't ace the exam. If they've done their best, they can still find peace in knowing they've gained valuable knowledge. The key here is to shift your focus from the end result to the effort itself. So ask yourself this: what outcome are you overly attached to? Is it a promotion at work, a relationship, or perhaps a personal goal? By loosening your grip on these expectations, you open yourself to a sense of calm and resilience. No matter how life unfolds, picture this. You're in the middle of a heated argument, your heart is racing, and your mind is clouded with frustration. It's a moment when emotions can easily take the wheel, but what if you could stay calm and grounded instead? The Stoics believed that mastering our emotions isn't about suppressing them, it's about understanding them. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, once wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." That's a powerful reminder. Emotions like anger or fear often stem from our perceptions, not the events themselves. By taking a step back and reflecting on why we feel a certain way, we can respond with clarity rather than impulsiveness. One practical technique is to pause before reacting. When you feel that surge of emotion, take a moment to breathe deeply. Ask yourself, is this reaction helpful? Is it aligned with who I want to be? This simple pause can be life-changing. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by an emotion. What triggered it and how did you respond? By practicing this kind of reflection, you'll start to see patterns in your reactions and gain the power to choose a more intentional path. Remember, emotional mastery isn't about perfection. It's about progress, one thoughtful response at a time. What does it mean to live naturally? For the Stoics, this wasn't about retreating to the wilderness or rejecting modern life. Instead, it was about aligning with the natural order of the world and, more importantly, with our own true selves. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher born into slavery, taught that living authentically means understanding what is within our control and what is. He said, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. This idea invites us to strip away the unnecessary, the distractions, the societal pressures, the pursuit of status, and focus on what truly matters. Think about someone who simplifies their life, perhaps by decluttering their schedule, reducing material possessions, or dedicating time to meaningful relationships. They're not rejecting progress, they're choosing to live in a way that reflects their core values. So ask yourself, are you living in alignment with your true nature? Are your actions and choices a genuine reflection of who you are, or are they shaped by external expectations? Living naturally isn't about perfection. It's about making intentional choices that bring you closer to your authentic self. When we align with our true nature, we find a sense of peace and purpose that no external validation can provide. Gratitude is the antidote to discontent. In a world that constantly urges us to want more, the Stoics remind us to pause and appreciate what we already have. The philosopher emperor wrote in his Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This perspective shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance, from what's missing to what's present. The practice of gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's a profound tool for mental resilience and clarity. One simple way to incorporate this into your daily routine is to set aside a few minutes each evening to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand. A kind word from a friend, a moment of peace, or even the warmth of sunlight can be enough. Over time, this habit rewires your mind to notice the good, even in challenging circumstances. So as you go about your day, ask yourself, what are you truly thankful for? When you cultivate gratitude, you're not denying difficulties. You're choosing to see life through a lens of appreciation and possibility. Everything is temporary. This might sound unnerving at first, but it's a truth the Stoics embraced wholeheartedly. They practiced memento, a Latin phrase meaning, remember you must die. Far from being morbid, this practice is a powerful reminder to live with intention and purpose. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the brevity of life. He argued that it's not that we have too little time, but that we waste much of it. Reflecting on impermanence shifts our perspective. It strips away distractions and forces us to focus on what truly matters. Think about this. If today were your last day, how would you spend it? Would you waste it on trivial concerns or invest it in what brings you joy and meaning? Consider the story of Steve Jobs, who famously said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Embracing impermanence doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with clarity and gratitude. So, as you move through your day, let the awareness of life's fleeting nature guide your choices. What would you do differently if you truly understood that this moment is all you have? What drives you? What is the deeper reason behind your actions and decisions? The Stoics believed that a clear purpose is the cornerstone of a meaningful life. Without it, we drift aimlessly, swept along by external forces. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This simple yet profound advice reminds us to define our purpose before we act. But how do we uncover that purpose? Start by asking yourself, what truly matters to you? What values guide your choices? One powerful exercise is to write down your core principles, those non-negotiable beliefs that shape who you are. Perhaps it's honesty, compassion, or resilience. Then reflect on how your daily actions align with those values. Are you living in a way that honors them? Or are you being pulled in directions that don't resonate with your deeper self? Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, if I could design my ideal day, what would it look like? What activities would fill it and why? By clarifying your purpose, you create a compass that keeps you grounded, even in chaos. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. When your actions reflect your values, you begin to live with intention, and that's where true fulfillment lies. Discipline is freedom. At first glance, this might seem paradoxical, but the Stoics understood that true liberty comes from mastering ourselves. Without self-discipline, we're enslaved by our impulses, distractions, and excuses. One of history's most disciplined thinkers wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He knew that self-discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about creating the space to live intentionally. Consider how sticking to a daily routine can transform your life. Waking up at the same time, dedicating moments to reflection, or committing to a regular exercise schedule. These small acts build resilience over time. They train your mind to focus on what's within your control, rather than being tossed around by external chaos. Where do you need more discipline in your life? Is it in your habits, your time management, or perhaps in how you respond to challenges? Start small. Choose one area where you feel pulled off course and commit to making a change. Remember, discipline isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you choose to act with intention, you strengthen your inner resolve, and that's where true freedom begins. Picture this: you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. Your frustration builds with every passing minute. Now imagine taking a deep breath and letting go of the tension. What if, instead of resisting the situation, you accepted it fully? This is the essence of a Stoic concept that translates to love of fate. It's about embracing life as it unfolds, not as we wish it to be. Epictetus once said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy." This doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It's about shifting your focus from what's beyond your control to how you respond to it. Think of someone who's faced a major setback, like losing a job or experiencing a health crisis. Instead of dwelling on the unfairness, they choose to adapt, finding new opportunities or deeper meaning in the experience. This is the power of acceptance. It allows you to move forward with clarity and peace, rather than being weighed down by resistance. So what's one thing in your life you're struggling to accept? Is it a relationship, a career challenge, or maybe even a personal flaw? Start by acknowledging it without judgment. When you stop fighting reality, you create space for growth and resilience. Isn't about liking everything that happens. It's about finding strength in the way you choose to face it. Pride blinds us. It's a truth as old as time, yet one we often overlook. The Stoics understood this deeply, valuing humility as a cornerstone of self-mastery. Seneca warned against vanity, calling it a barrier to wisdom. When we think we've arrived, we stop growing. Humility, on the other hand, keeps us grounded and open to learning. It's not about diminishing yourself, it's about recognizing that you're always a work in progress. Take the example of a young professional who receives critical feedback on a project. At first, they're defensive, feeling their effort wasn't appreciated. But instead of clinging to pride, they pause, reflect, and ask themselves, what can I learn from this? That shift from resistance to openness is humility in action. It transforms criticism into a tool for growth. Humility also allows us to connect more deeply with others. When we set aside the need to prove ourselves, we become better listeners, collaborators, and leaders. So, where might humility serve you? Is it in your relationships, your career, or the way you view your own abilities? Start by acknowledging that you don't have all the answers. Embrace the idea that every person you meet can teach you something. This mindset doesn't just help you grow, it fosters a sense of peace, knowing you're part of something larger than yourself. What's the worst that could happen? It's a question that might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's central to the Stoic practice of negative visualization. This ancient technique isn't about dwelling on pessimism, it's about preparing your mind for life's uncertainties. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By imagining potential difficulties, we reduce their power to surprise or overwhelm us. Think of it as mental armor. For instance, picture a challenging conversation you've been avoiding. Visualize the worst-case scenario. The other person reacts harshly, the discussion spirals, and you leave feeling defeated. Now ask yourself, how would you handle it? By mentally rehearsing this moment, you're not only prepared but also more likely to approach the situation with calm and clarity. Negative visualization also has an unexpected benefit: gratitude. By imagining the loss of something you value, your job, health, or a relationship, you're reminded to appreciate what you have right now. It's a practice that grounds you in the present, helping you see the good that's often taken for granted. So, how can you apply this today? Take a moment to reflect on a fear or challenge you're facing. Walk through the worst-case scenario in your mind and then ask yourself, how would I move forward? This exercise isn't about inviting fear. It's about building resilience and finding peace in the face of life's unpredictability. Less is more. At first glance, it might sound like but for the Stoics, it's a profound truth. Simplicity isn't just about having fewer possessions, it's about creating mental and emotional clarity. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The more we pare down the unnecessary, the more space we create for what truly matters. Take, for example, the story of a person who decided to declutter their life. They started by clearing out their overflowing closet, moved on to canceling subscriptions they didn't use, and eventually began to say no to commitments that drained their energy. What they found wasn't just a tidier home, but a calmer mind and a deeper sense of freedom. The Stoics believed that unnecessary desires and distractions pull us away from our true purpose, clouding our ability to focus on what's essential. Think about your own life for a moment. What are the things, habits, or obligations that weigh you down? Could you let go of them to make room for more meaningful pursuits? Simplification isn't about deprivation, it's about intentionality. By cutting out the noise, we can better hear our own thoughts and align our actions with our values. So ask yourself, what can you remove today to bring more clarity and peace into your life? This isn't a one-time task, it's an ongoing practice, a way of returning to what truly matters again and again. What does it mean to live virtuously? For the Stoics, this wasn't just a philosophical question, it was the foundation of a meaningful life. Virtue, in their view, is the highest good, the one thing that can't be taken away from you. Once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." Be one. It's a call to action, a reminder that virtue isn't about lofty ideals, but about the choices we make every single day. Imagine someone faced with a difficult decision at work. A colleague takes credit for their idea, and speaking up could create tension. Choosing to address the situation with honesty and fairness, even when it's inconvenient, is an act of virtue. The Stoics believed that living virtuously means aligning our actions with principles like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline, no matter the circumstances. It's not about perfection, but about striving to do the right thing even when it's hard. Think about your own life. When was the last time you chose integrity over ease? Virtue isn't a destination, it's a daily practice, a commitment to living with purpose and honor. So, ask yourself, how can you embody virtue in your next decision? In these small, consistent choices that we shape not only our character, but also the world around us, reflection is the key to growth. It's a simple idea, yet one that the Stoics took deeply to heart. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of self-examination. He believed that without reflection, life passes by in a blur, leaving us no wiser than we started. Each evening, he would sit down and ask himself questions like, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve? This practice wasn't about self-criticism, but about learning, growing, and aligning his actions with his values. Imagine ending your day with just 5 minutes of quiet reflection, reviewing your decisions, acknowledging your successes, and identifying areas for improvement. It's not about dwelling on mistakes, but about creating a feedback loop that helps you become more intentional tomorrow. Try this simple exercise. Before you go to bed, ask yourself, what did I learn today? How did I act with courage or kindness? Where could I have done better? Over time, this habit builds self-awareness and clarity, helping you live with greater purpose and integrity. Reflection isn't just a Stoic practice. It's a tool anyone can use to navigate life's challenges with more wisdom and grace. Picture this: you've just faced a major setback. A project fell through, a relationship ended, or a goal slipped out of reach. It feels crushing, and you're tempted to let frustration take over. But the Stoics would argue that this moment is where your strength begins. Emotional resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build through practice. As Epictetus famously said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This idea is the cornerstone of Stoic resilience, training yourself to respond to challenges with calm and clarity rather than being swept away by emotion. Think about someone like Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Each failure wasn't a defeat, it was a lesson. He didn't let setbacks define him, he let them refine him. That's the Stoic approach, viewing obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger. Now, consider your own life. When was the last time you faced a challenge? How did you respond? Resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about learning to move through it with grace. Start small, practice staying calm in minor frustrations like traffic or a missed deadline. Over time, you'll find that what once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. Emotional resilience isn't just about enduring, it's about thriving, even when life throws its hardest punches. What truly matters in the long run? It's a question that cuts through the noise of our daily lives. The Stoics believed that much of what we stress over, deadlines, disagreements, minor inconveniences, fades into insignificance when we step back and look at the bigger picture. Often reminded himself of this, writing in his personal journal that many of our worries are not worth a second thought. He urged himself to focus on what would truly leave a lasting impact rather than getting lost in the trivial. Imagine yourself standing on a mountaintop, looking down at the world below. What seems urgent or overwhelming up close often looks small and manageable from that vantage point. This is the essence of Stoic perspective, zooming out to see your life in the context of the larger whole. Take the example of Nelson, who spent decades in prison, yet emerged focused on long-term reconciliation rather than short-term revenge. He understood that his legacy would be defined not by the hardships he endured, but by how he chose to respond to them. When you feel caught up in the minutiae of daily life, take a moment to ask yourself, are you focusing on what truly matters? Are your actions aligned with the legacy you want to leave behind? The big picture reminds us that time is limited and our energy is precious. By prioritizing what endures, growth, relationships, and purpose, you can navigate life with a sense of clarity and calm that Stoicism so deeply values. We're all human, a simple truth, yet one that's easy to forget when emotions run high. The Stoics, often seen as cold or detached, actually placed immense value on compassion and understanding as essential parts of living virtuously. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Be kind to everyone, for we are all fighting a hard battle." This reminder calls us to look beyond our own struggles and see the humanity in others, especially when it's hardest to do so. Compassion isn't just a feeling, it's a practice, a choice to extend understanding even when it's inconvenient. Consider the story of who, after surviving an attack by the Taliban, chose to advocate for education rather than harbor hatred. Her response wasn't just an act of courage, but a profound demonstration of compassion, recognizing that even her attackers were shaped by their circumstances and lack of knowledge. So, how can we cultivate this mindset in our own lives? When someone frustrates or wrongs you, pause and ask what might be driving their actions. Are they acting out of fear, pain, or ignorance? By meeting these moments with empathy, we not only live more virtuously, but also create ripples of kindness that can transform relationships and communities. How often do you pause to consider the battles others are quietly fighting? Compassion, in the Stoic view, isn't weakness, it's strength, a way to rise above pettiness and connect with the shared humanity that binds us all. Change is inevitable, a truth as old as time itself. The Stoics understood that life is a river, always flowing, always shifting, and that resisting its current only leads to struggle and suffering. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, famously taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." His words remind us that while we can't control the changes life throws our way, we can control our response to them. Think about a career shift, something many of us face at some point. It's easy to feel fear or resistance when the familiar path disappears, but what if we saw it as an opportunity rather than a threat? Take the story of Jeff, who left a stable job to start Amazon in his garage. He didn't resist the uncertainty. He leaned into it, turning change into the foundation of one of the world's most successful companies. The key here isn't to chase change recklessly, but to approach it with a mindset of adaptability and curiosity. Ask yourself, what might this new chapter teach me? How can I grow through this transition? By embracing change, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, finding strength and opportunity in what might otherwise feel like chaos. The next time you face a shift, big or small, pause and remind yourself, this is the moment to adapt, to evolve, to thrive. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting, and every minute feels like an eternity. Your first instinct might be to honk, sigh, or let frustration take over. But what if instead you chose to sit calmly, accepting that this delay is out of your control? This is the essence of Stoic patience, a virtue that transforms waiting from a source of stress into an opportunity for growth. Seneca once wrote, "Time heals what reason cannot," reminding us that patience isn't passive, it's an active choice to trust the process. Take the example of Nelson, who spent 27 years in prison, patiently enduring hardship while preparing himself to lead a nation. His patience wasn't resignation, it was a quiet strength that fueled his eventual triumph. In our own lives, patience allows us to persevere through challenges, whether it's mastering a new skill, building a business, or mending a relationship. So the next time you're stuck in a situation that tests your patience, ask yourself, what can I learn in this moment? How can I use this time to grow? By cultivating patience, we not only endure but thrive, finding resilience in the waiting. Are your decisions aligned with your values? It's a question worth asking, because every choice we make shapes the path we're on. The Stoics believed that mindful decision-making is the cornerstone of a purposeful life. Often reflected on this in his writings, urging himself to deliberate before acting, to ensure his choices were grounded in reason and virtue. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This isn't about perfection, it's about intentionality. One practical technique to adopt is the pause, a simple moment of reflection before responding. When faced with a decision, take a breath, step back, and ask, does this align with who I am and who I want to become? This small pause can be transformative, turning impulsive reactions into thoughtful actions. Consider the story of Odysseus, who resisted the siren's call by staying true to his long-term goal of returning home. His mindfulness in the face of temptation is a powerful reminder of the value of staying centered. So, what's one decision you can make more mindfully today? Whether it's how you respond to criticism, what you prioritize in your day, or how you treat others, every choice is an opportunity to live in alignment with your deepest values. Authenticity is freedom. This bold truth lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics taught that living authentically means aligning your actions with your inner principles, regardless of external pressures or expectations. As Epictetus wisely said, "If you wish to be a writer, write. If you wish to be a singer, sing. But whatever you do, do it from the heart." It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes from being who you are, not who others want you to be. Think of someone like Nelson, who, despite years of imprisonment, remained steadfast in his beliefs and values. His authenticity not only shaped his legacy but also inspired millions. So how do we apply this in our own lives? Start by asking yourself, am I making choices that reflect my true self, or am I bending to the expectations of others? It's not always easy, especially in a world that often rewards conformity. But when you live authentically, you free yourself from the weight of pretending. You become the author of your own story, untethered from the opinions of others. What's one step you can take today to live more authentically? Whether it's speaking your truth, pursuing a passion, or simply saying no to something that doesn't align with your values, each act of authenticity is a step toward true freedom. As we bring this journey through the 25 Secrets of Stoic Self-Mastery to a close, it's worth reflecting on the profound impact these principles can have when practiced together. Each secret, from cultivating resilience to embracing the present moment, is like a thread in a tapestry, weaving a stronger, more disciplined mind. At the core of Stoicism lies the pursuit of virtue, living with integrity, courage, and wisdom, no matter the circumstances. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're tools designed to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and purpose. Think of them as a mental toolkit, ready to be used whenever you face adversity, distraction, or self-doubt. Seneca once said, "The soul has the power to shape itself according to its will." These words remind us that true power lies within, and with the guidance of Stoic principles, we can unlock a limitless potential for growth. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up every day, choosing to act with intention, and gradually transforming the way you see the world and your place in it. Start small. Practice gratitude in moments of frustration. Pause before reacting and ask yourself, is this within my control? Celebrate the victories, no matter how minor they may seem. The path to self-mastery is a lifelong journey, but it's one that's deeply rewarding. If you found value in these insights, I invite you to join our community of seekers and thinkers by subscribing. Together, we'll explore more timeless wisdom to help you live a life of meaning and resilience. Remember, the power to shape your mind and your future is already within you. It's time to take the first